Hey everybody, in today's tutorial I'm going to show you a really fun reverse telescoping images, which is a title I've completely made up. I watched a bookmaking class from a professor at the University of Florida, and I wanted to adapt this to an A2 card or a mini book, which is what I'm creating today. I'm creating a little mini book, and I'm using cats because who wouldn't, if given the option, use cats? So that's what I'm doing. So I have 5 identical cat images and they need to be square, and mine weren't quite square. They had a little white space at the edge. So I'm touching that up with a marker, and you won't notice any of that at the end of this anyway. So you can put perfectionism out of your mind for this project entirely because it does not require any sort of perfectionism. It's very forgiving. So what you'll want to do is create a piece of paper, pattern paper or cardstock that has 2 little scored hinges. So you want the center section to be the exact size of your square image, and then you want to have 2 little flaps at either end, and you'll want to repeat this 4 times. Actually 5 times, but you'll see why I said 4 in a minute. And you'll want all the images going the exact same way, which is why I peeled one off and changed it. It can go the way that I have it, or it can go so the top of the image is, well, the flaps are on the side instead of the top and the bottom. That is completely up to you. Now, this 5th image is special because you are going to fold the flaps the opposite way, but the image is positioned exactly the same way. That's the image you're going to see at the bottom of the telescope. You will also want some dies. They can be circles, squares, diamonds, whatever you want them to be. I chose circles. They will need to be nesting dies because they will get progressively smaller towards the bottom of the telescope, like I showed you here. So you will want to tape your dies onto the images times 4. And like I said, that last image will remain uncut. So once you've cut them, you get the added bonus of little round cat faces, which we are going to use. Nothing will go to waste here. And once you have them die cut, you'll want to take the largest opening. You have to start with the largest opening, and you will take the top hinge of the largest opening, and you will put it on a square the same size as your image. Now, if you're concerned about sizes, etc., I will have a PDF in my class website if you want the exact sizes that I use, but you can make this any size. It's very easy to scale. Now, I got the die cut openings in the wrong order. You really do have to start with the largest one, and I started with the second largest one, so I removed it, and I'm fixing it. That's a great thing about liquid glue. Gives you a little room to make a mistake. Pull it off. No one will ever see what you did. Then you go to the 3rd smallest die cut opening, and you will put that, you're going to butt these right up against each other. Once you are done applying all 4 of these to the square will be completely covered up. So apply glue to the 4th flap, and that will cover the bottom part. Now you'll notice there's like a little leg sticking out at the bottom with that last flap, and that's where this 5th image comes in. This one, the hinges go the opposite way, and you'll glue this in so that it completes the box shape that makes the outside of this telescoping structure. So see how that completes the little box? And there is your reverse telescope cat. Very, very fun. Now, once this is put together, you're going to glue another square onto these 4 flaps. And I'm just trimming a little excess paper off. Like I said, this is really forgiving and you're not going to see any of that. So don't worry if some of your paper needs to be trimmed off or you need to kind of fold things differently. It's really no big deal. Now you can glue the last flap of the uncut image tuck it under that 4th flap. And then you'll take all 4 of those flaps, you'll apply glue, and you'll stick a square onto those. And that's going to complete your structure. So now it's a completely independent structure that opens and closes to reveal the telescope. So once that is on there, You can see what I mean. It's a complete box now. It folds flat, then it folds up for you to view the reverse kitty telescope. Now, I like to create a little cover, add some surprise. So you'll do that by grabbing a piece of paper that is just a little bit bigger than the size of your images so that you can have a little hinge that will go inside the box and serve as a cover. So here I just have a little extra flap, but otherwise it's the same size. And then because I have a large die cut opening, it protrudes through the opening a little bit. So I just trace that and I'm cutting around it a little wider with a pencil before gluing it in so that nothing is obscuring these adorable little kitty images. So slide that in there, glue it to hold it closed, and you have your little hidden telescoping image. And you can put a sentiment on the top of this, something that says open me, whatever. But this is so much fun. Oh my gosh. It came out even better than I thought it was going to after watching the bookmaking seminar that this lady did, but very fun. And these little rickrack stitches on this paper, these were actually a complete accident, but look how they line up with where my telescope is going to be. It's amazing. So I'm just making some marks to tell myself where to put this back into place. And then just on the bottom of the telescoping box, you'll put glue. I'm putting it under the flap and holding it down with some magnets so that it'll stick into my book. Later, I use little flat nose clips to hold this down while it dried, but you can do whatever you like. It actually dries pretty quickly. But there it is with the little door, little cover. Here's another one. I had this one open to the side. So that's the orientation of images I was talking to you about in the beginning. That's what determines whether they open from the top or open from the side. So I'll walk through this again just so that it makes sense. I have the 5 images. I have dies attached to 4 of them that I'm going to die cut. And then I'm going to attach the kitty image that will be uncut to the 5th image again. So this one is going to be with the flaps on the side. So as you can see, it doesn't matter whether it's the top or the side. That's just going to determine which way you open the telescope. Now for the covers, this is very simple. You only put glue down the spine of the cover. This is like the simplest book ever. I do have some bookmaking classes that are more involved, that also involve no sewing, but this one is very, very simple. You need 3 of these covers and you just glue them all together like this. That'll give you a front cover, a back cover, and then enough pages for 4 of these little telescoping kitties. So now that I have the openings, I'll just show you how you line them up, largest to smallest opening, and that's what gives you your image. And like I said, they can shift off to the right. So this kitty's face was kind of off to the right. So then your die cuts will move off to the right. And so you can frame different kinds of images different ways depending on where you put those dies. So I'm going through this process again of just adding the folded flaps to a square of paper that's the same size as my images, gluing that in place. And again, starting with the largest and working towards the smallest. So the largest is always going to be the first one that you put down. Second largest is second. And then when they fold together, they'll all be straight, even though they're offset when you're putting them together. It's just kind of the magic of that folding box. So I'll put these in there, line them up. This one's fun because it's kind of a darker image, so it actually has more of like a space look than some of the other ones. But some of these images were so cute. I didn't use all the patterns that I got, but I got some really hilarious patterns from this same company. And so I'm going to make more of them, but I went with this kind of artsy kitty grouping for this one. But the other ones are really, really fun, kind of anthropomorphic images. Very, very fun. So again, you put the uncut image in the opposite with the flaps folding the opposite way, and that's what completes the bottom of the box. So there he is down at the bottom. And then fold your flaps all up. You're going to glue them all at once. Easy as can be. like I said, you can tuck that other flap under first and glue it, or you can do that afterwards. It's totally up to you. So I've shown you both ways here in this video, and both are super easy. I like putting all the glue on the 4 flaps at the same time and then adding that square. Just pop a couple magnets on there and let that dry. And then you can take that last flap, insert it on the inside of the bottom of that little box, put some glue on it, and then you're all set. Or you can lay it down flat like this. The only thing is you'll want to lay them all down and make sure that you've folded them really well in both directions. You know, in case something gets a little bit bunched up, you might want to go over it with a bone folder, that kind of thing. But it is such a fun technique. So here's the completed book. It says, "I'm busy right now. Can I ignore you some other time?" Which is a very cat sentiment. So I did each page the same way. I had a little flap to secure the entire structure down to the page. I have cover. I have different cats on every page. 2 of these are straight up and down, and 2 are sideways. And so what I did was I took the die cut circle cat faces to indicate to you whether you're going to be looking at it from the side or the top. So they're in the same orientation as what's inside. And I'm really happy about how the paper that I picked with it kind of, I don't know how it goes with these kind of busy painted little cats, but it really does. It really, really turned out well. So then you just tuck it back under the flap, and you can put little sentiments. Like I said, you can personalize it. Here's the one, the top mounted one that I skipped in the beginning. This is kind of a, looks like kind of a deep thinker, this cat. But that's on the second page. So that's 4 pages of telescoping cats, and then a front and back cover that you can decorate however you'd like. Thanks so much for watching.